Architecture that listens. Rationale for the medium. Film is chosen as the primary medium because traditional architectural tools, drawings, models, and photographs cannot fully convey sound, which unfolds over time, responds to movement, and interacts with materials and occupancy. Sound is relational and temporal. A space is experienced sequentially through footsteps, echoes, and ambient layers. Film captures these qualities, allowing space to be explored both visually and sonically. It functions as an immersive research tool, making audible the dynamics of sound in architecture. By using film, this project investigates architecture as a lived temporal experience, positioning listening as a critical mode of architectural understanding. Introduction. Architecture must listen first. Modern architecture has learned to see. Since the Renaissance, Albertus de Edificatoria in the 15th century framed architecture as a visual discipline, emphasizing geometry and proportion while neglecting sound. This ocular-centered legacy persists today. We are trained to draw, to model, to render, but not to listen. Yet, sound constructs space in ways vision cannot. It defines distance, enclosure, presence. It shapes how safe, calm, or alert we feel. I hold a bachelor's degree in music with a major in piano and a secondary study in cello. This dual training between the percussive precision of piano and sustained resonance of cello shaped how I understand architecture, not as frozen form, but as a temporary instrument. I performed as a cellist in a Baroque ensemble several times in Canterbury Cathedral. Performing within that space was one of the most transformative experiences in my musical life, where sound revealed itself as inseparable from architecture. In a rehearsal room, a single note lasts 1 second. In the cathedral, 8 seconds. The architecture plays the sound. The walls, the vault, the stone, they are part of the instrument. But most buildings today, sound is treated as a problem to remove rather than a material to design with. We measure sound in decibels. 70 decibels of a church bell, ceremonial, familiar, a signal of gathering. 70 decibels of a car horn, urgent, intrusive, a signal of alarm. Sound is not just intensity, it is rhythm, frequency, timbre, and meaning, and architecture has reduced it to a number. If sound shapes space so profoundly, why does it remain marginal? How might architectural practice transform if listening were treated as a primary design act? Sound. From noise control to sonic orchestration. Sound is vibration propagating through matter. From particles to structures, everything oscillates. These vibrations travel as pressure waves through air, water, or solids. Sound emerges through interaction between source and environment and have frequency, resonance, absorption, and diffusion. Architecture is not a container, the sound, but an active participant in its formation. Walls, floors, ceilings could produce sound, but architecture often defines sound only through human hearing, ignoring wider sonic realities. Humans hear between 20 Hz and 20,000 Hz, but navigate via ultrasound above 20,000 Hz. Every building we design participates in multiple sonic worlds. We're not the only species listening to the building's sound. Buildings participate in multi-species sonic environment, mediating multiple auditory realities simultaneously. In 1787, Chladni demonstrated that vibration creates geometric form. Sand on a vibrating plate forms patterns. Low frequencies generate simple, stable forms. Higher frequencies create complexity. Architecture, too, carries patterns of complexity. A dense facade, a tight woven ceiling, a layered courtyard, each modulates perception, cognitive load, and emotional intensity. Rather than copying these geometry literally, this research adopts them conceptually. Frequency relates to spatial character. Low frequencies suggest grounding and enclosure. High frequencies suggest energy and openness. If we understand these relationships, we can design spaces where pattern, frequency, and meaning converge, where sound informs form guides experience, and we compose with them. Neuroscience reveals that sound influences brain state. Our brainwaves respond differently to frequencies. Focus, emotion, and attention shift with pitch and rhythm. Delta wave 0.5 to 4 Hz correlates with deep sleep. Alpha waves 8 to 12 Hz with relaxed alertness. Beta waves 12 to 30 Hz with focus. Sound-based practices employing repetitive frequencies support calm and regulation. A space's resonant character, dominant frequencies, vibration, and rhythm contribute to psychological and physiological experience. Architectural sound shapes nervous system response. Despite this complexity, practice reduces sound to decibels. We measure intensity, but acoustic regulations prioritize threshold, neglecting subjective perception. Sound is treated as nuisance to mitigate, rather than material to shape atmosphere and memory. Since the late 20th century, phenomenological approaches challenged this. R. Murray Schafer reframed sound as cultural soundscape. Juhani Pallasmaa argued for multisensory architecture privileging bodily perception. Barbara Owen advanced listening as architectural attitude. These perspectives shift from controlling sound to understanding it relationally, yet remain descriptive rather than compositional. Research by Charles Spence demonstrates environmental sound directly influence emotion. Low-frequency sounds between 20 and 300 Hz activate the amygdala. The brain reads them as threat, earthquake, predator, danger. High frequencies sounds between 2000 and 8000 Hz, alarm, panic, scream. But rhythmic, natural sound, the nervous system calms, neutral entrainment, stress reduction, emotional regulation. This is neuroscience, cognitive, and evolutionary psychology. Curved forms evoke comfort. Rectilinear geometries promote alertness. Sound and form are cognitively active, shaping experience emotionally, evolutionary, and social psychologically. While phenomenology reintroduced sound into discourse, limited precision remains regarding which sounds under which conditions generate specific responses. How to deliberate design these effects remains unresolved. This gap forms the foundation of sonic healing architecture. What is healing? The emphasis on healing responds to contemporary conditions. Unlike pre-industrial societies, where hardship was largely physical, contemporary life combines material comfort with chronic psychological stress. Continuous assimilation, digital acceleration, and environmental noise have normalized anxiety and cognitive fatigue as everyday states. Healing is often understood as medical restoration. Buildings cannot heal in that therapeutical sense. What architecture can do is create conditions that support balance, reduce stress, and restore agency. While architects do not practice medicine, we know that certain spaces can support psychological and physiological well-being. Neuroscience shows that when the brain's default mode network, DMN, is active, the opposite of fight or flight mode, we experience rest, reflection, and restoration. Music therapists and clinicians use this knowledge to hospitals to guide therapeutic sessions. Even in schools across the UK, mindfulness practices are integrated into curricula, teaching children how environment, including sound, shapes mental health. If we accept this, then architecture carries a responsibility. Research in music therapy demonstrates that rhythm can regulate heart rate, harmony can reduce cortisol, and repetition can calm the amygdala. This is biology, not metaphor. What if architecture applied the same principles not through prescribed therapy but through designed environment? Zen architecture, rooted in Buddhist-influenced design philosophies, emphasizing silence, emptiness, and reduction. The real meaning of healing sound is not silence but meaningful sound that orients and connects you to time, season, and community. Sound that you can control. If healing means stress reduction rather than medical cure, architecture facilities through spatial sequencing, material choice, and sonic orchestration. This positions sound as an ethical design, material shaping emotional and bodily experience, moving beyond control towards environments that actively support well-being. What is a sonic healing architecture? Sonic healing architecture is a design method treating sound as primary material from project outset. It integrates sound's temporal and perceptual qualities to support emotional balance, attentional focus, and user agency without claiming therapeutic outcomes. The architect designs conditions where sonic environments support comfort and regulation. Sound is dynamic, relational, co-produced by space, material, occupation. In conventional practice, acoustics arrive last. The building is designed, then an engineer says too loud, add insulation. Sound becomes problem to fix. In sonic healing architecture, sound is designed from the beginning. We ask, what should this space sound like? A corridor with hard stone, footsteps echo, you feel exposed. Timber and fabric footsteps absorb. You feel intimate. Same action, different feeling. This is atmosphere shaping how you feel, think, and behave. Sonic healing architecture considers frequency. Low tones ground, high tones energize, rhythm, predictable patterns calm, unpredictable, alert, decay time. Long reverb feels sacred, short feels private. These are design variables like ceiling height. Context matters. 60 decibels of warfare sounds stressful. 60 decibels of flowing water in a meditation restorative. The architect composes the right sound for the right place and moment. Most importantly, user agency. Healing requires choice. You decide when you need quiet, when you want company. Architecture provides options. You perform the composition. The architect operates ethically, not therapeutically, facilitating well-being through flexibility and perceptual clarity. Users modulate sonic exposure through spatial zoning, material transitions, acoustic features. This contrasts with approaches prioritizing silence or decibel compliance alone, neglecting subjective perception, sensory diversity, cultural context. Healing is enabled, not imposed. Anechoic chambers reveal limits of reductionism. Total silence provokes discomfort and disorientation. Well-being emerges not from absence, but from perceptually meaningful, balanced sonic environments, orchestrated through frequency, texture, temporal variation. This is sonic healing architecture, sound as material, atmosphere care. How to practice sonic healing architecture. Theory without method is philosophy. I developed a 21-step framework. 4 phases: sensing, interpreting, materializing, verifying, operating sequentially or iteratively, supporting feedback and evolution. Phase A: sensing deep listening to existing conditions. Step 1. Multi-species soundscape survey. Record everything. Birds at dawn, traffic at noon, wind at night. Map by acoustic layers across human and non-human species. Step 2. Cultural auditory heritage. Interview residents. What sounds cause stress? What brings comfort? Archive historic sounds, folk songs, rituals, communal practices, and its meanings. Step 3. Site-specific conflict analysis. Identify political, infrastructural, industrial noise, conflicts shaping sonic character. Step 4. Filtering and interpretation. Measure quantitatively, but translate qualitatively. Step 5. Qualitative mapping. Conduct interviews translating measured data into lived, perceptual, cultural meaning. Phase A establishes. Design begins with listening, microphones, and narrative. Reveal invisible conditions drawings cannot capture. Phase B. Interpreting sonic translation. Step 6. Hierarchical user analysis. Children need play. Elders need calm. Workers need focus. Define acoustic needs by age. Neurodiversity. Cultural background. Privacy. Step 7. Sonic translation. Convert sonic data, rhythm, pitch, frequency into spatial logic and geometry. Certain low frequencies suggest enclosure. Certain high frequencies suggest openness. Step 8. Multisensory synergy. Curate light, tactility, thermal conditions to amplify or soften auditory perception. Step 9. Topographical shielding. Employ earthwork, slopes, terrain to redirect or absorb sound. Step 10. Ecoacoustic masking. Design biological buffers, water, trees, vegetation, masking intrusive noise with restorative natural sound. Step 11. Temporal orchestration. Choreograph soundscapes across daily, seasonal, climatic cycles. Step 12. Sonic narrative scripting. Draft sequences of auditory experience like film or opera. Step 13. Case studies. Learn from precedents. Hanok doesn't control sound. It choreographs it. Step 14. Architectural decisions. Fix spatial, material, programmatic strategies based on sonic intent. Phase B. Translate data into meaning, mapping environments, supporting attention and regulation without prescribing outcomes. Phase C. Materializing architecture as instrument. Step 15. Sonic materiality. Select materials by resonance, absorption, decay, tactile perception. Stone reflects, timber absorbs, fabric diffuses. Step 16. Passive modulation. Shape fixed forms, thirds, eaves, courtyards, establishing base soundscape. Step 17. Active agency. Integrate user-operatable elements, panels, screens, openings, allowing individual control. Step 18. Testing. Evaluate alignment between intended qualities and actual experience. Adjust. This phase treats buildings as a playable instrument. Agency, adjusting your sonic environment, reduces stress and support well-being. Phase D, verification, feedback loop. Step 19. Hybrid prototyping. Validate through digital simulation and physical mock-ups. Step 20. Post-occupancy evaluation. Monitor psychological, physiological, subjective responses after occupation. Step 21. Regenerative life cycle planning. Anticipate acoustic evolution as materials, weather, and age. Phase D confirms sonic healing architecture doesn't end at construction. Buildings continue sounding, changing, responding. While the RIBA plan of work structures architectural delivery around linear phases and technical compliance, the sonic healing methodology starts with listening and human well-being. Sound becomes a generative design material, guiding spatial sequence, materials, and user experience. This iterative, trauma-informed process integrates neuroscience, cultural memory, and acoustic ethics, extending conventional architectural methods. By reframing design as a listening-led practice, architecture can move from functional performance towards emotional and sensory care. Conventional practice treats sound as waste to suppress. Phenomenology framed it as atmosphere, but remained descriptive. Sonic healing architecture treats sound as a design material, like timber or concrete. Sound possesses texture, rhythm, density, temporal presence. The architect becomes a composer, editing and orchestrating sonic elements across space and time. This is neither preserving all sounds nor enforcing silence. It's architectural editing, deciding what to foreground, soften, exclude, guided by perception, ethics, context. This framework represents my proposal for practicing sonic healing architecture. While systematic, it remains open, capable of rearrangement and expansion. As sound, culture, technology evolve, and theory invites continued experimentation. Paju, folk songs and DMZ. Now let me show you how it works in a place where sound has been a weapon. The 38 parallel dividing North and South Korea. For 60 years, this border used sound as weapons. I chose Paju because it represents the intersection of three critical conditions: acoustic and political trauma encoded in sound, and cultural heritage preserved through song. As a Korean architect working on a Korean site, traumatized by Korean political history, this project is not just academic, it is personal, urgent, and rooted in collective memory I inherited. Unlike other DMZ border regions, Paju contains Kumsanli, one of the few villages where folk song traditions survived despite decades of sonic violence. This rare convergence makes it an ideal testing ground for sonic healing architecture. From the 1960s to 2025, North Korean loudspeakers broadcast propaganda 24 hours daily, 85 decibels dominated by low frequencies, 150 to 300 Hz. The range of threat residents described, I honestly wouldn't be able to tell if a war had actually started. At night, you couldn't escape it. It entered your dream. Your body never rested. Another said, even now, when I hear a truck engine, my heart races. Sleep disruption, chronic stress, collective trauma, and PTSD. The government acknowledged harm, replaced windows, offered compensation, but never asked what kind of space could help people heal. Paradoxically, Paju is home of Kumsanli folk songs, 8 preserved songs tied to farming season task rhythm.
Spring planting songs, fast energizing.
Autumn harvest songs, celebratory, communal. Winter fermentation song, slow, meditative. These songs encoded time, labor, connection, organizing life through sound. Traditional Korean architecture provides acoustic insight. Open courtyard admit environmental sound. Eaves modulate reflection. Wind bells transform weather into music. Public halls are resonant. Private rooms absorptive. Fractal ceiling patterns, the gongpo bracket system, scatter sound, not silence, not chaotic, balanced. Folk songs reveal relationship between sound, activity, season, translating architecturally into differentiated spaces, supporting varied sonic tempos for labor, play, rest. Design application. I am proposing a community center for residents traumatized by sound, where they choose their sonic environment. These proposals are still evolving and should be understood as provisional rather than final. Phase A sensing. I collected and mapped residual military noise, natural soundscapes, cultural practices through archival research such as government reports, documentary, and news interviews. I examined residents' testimonies. One woman documented impact assessment described, I still can't sleep without medication. A community leader said, we want to preserve our songs and pass them on to future generations. A folk song practitioner, aged 65, said, the farming became mechanized. People gradually stopped singing and began to forget songs. Phrase B, interpreting. I translated trauma into spatial need. Zone 1, meditation chamber, silent, grounding, inspiring by Hanok Gongpo, layered ceiling, absorbing sound, not absolute silence, but controlled connection to nature. Zone 2, performance hall and transition courtyard, resonant, celebratory, high ceilings, hard surface, sound amplifies collective joy during folk song performance. Zone 3, a water feature accommodating rice farming performance,
Where bells and moving water are used to mask and dissolve unwanted noise.
Zone 4, flexible workshop, user-controlled, sliding fabric panels adjust absorption. You compose your environment. Phrase C, materializing, Korean pine for warmth and absorption, Paju stones for grounding and resonance, hemp fabric for diffusion, water for masking and restoration. I test digitally using Rhino with acoustic plugin, built physical, 1 to 20 scale, laser cutting, test models, adjusted geometry and materials. Phase D, verifying. The project is ongoing. Residents can participate in interior selection workshops, choosing finishes by touching and listening to acoustic samples. The building changes across time. Morning, calm, birdsong, footsteps on gravel. Afternoon, workshop, sounds, communal energy, voices in courtyards. Evening, folk songs in performance hall. Celebration, night, near silence, water floor, safety. Across the seasons, soundscapes evolve. Spring rain on roof tiles, renewal amplified by eaves. Summer cicadas, vitality, natural masking at 60 decibels, autumn wind through eaves, transition, wind bells chimming, winter snow, rest, exceptional outdoor quiet. The building offers a palette of atmospheres. Users perform their experience. This is not universal, but situated, born from Paju's drama, songs, landscape, but the method is transferable to other sides of the earth.
Belfast, where sectarian conflict used sound as territorial marker. Beirut, where reconstruction must address acoustic memories of war.
Berlin, where the war's sonic legacy persists.
Anywhere sound has been weaponed or neglected as waste.
The framework remains sense, interpret, materialize, verify through integrating Hanok-Korean traditional architectural principles, folk song analysis, historical soundscape, applied acoustic methods. The project demonstrates sonic healing architecture as culturally grounded and operational. Sound is treated as generative medium across space, material, time,
Enabling architecture to meditate, drama, reinforce identity, support well-being.
architectural role, and future.
All matter resonate through waves, acoustic, material, and perceptual. These waves, along with spatial patterns, forms, and human sensory interpretation, are deeply intertwined with our emotional and embodied experience. This work approaches architecture as a medium that modulates perception through sensory rhythms, material presence, and temporal orchestration, shaping not just space, but how we feel within it.
Non-controlling architecture. I'm not a healer, I'm a composer. Just as conductor shapes time through rhythm and silence, architects shape space through material and sound. Every building already sounds, footsteps, doors, rain, voices. Sound is not controlled or sterilized, but softly curated.
Programmatic sound, seasonal variation, natural phenomena.
Daily rhythms are orchestrated, not eliminated. Visitors navigate sound dynamically. Footsteps reveal scale. Voices indicate density. Environmental sounds cue orientation. Sound becomes narrative, not backdrop. Architecture performs as responsive medium, supporting well-being while maintaining flexibility. Architectural ethics. The architect's role is ethical, not authoritarian. I don't prescribe healing. I facilitate conditions where it might occur through choice, agency, respect for sensory and cultural diversity. Designers curate perceptual experience, orchestrating sound sources, spatial geometry, material textures across time and space. Ethical practice prioritizes user agency, perceptual diversity, cultural context. Architects create conditions for co-authorship with occupants,
Allowing them to perceive, interpret, respond.
Architecture functions as living instrument. Not everyone hears the same. Neurodivergent individuals may experience sound as pain.
Trauma survivors need control.
Predictability, the ability to withdraw. One soundscape cannot serve all. We design multiple soundscapes and a pathway between them. Critical limitations. This framework is not without limitations. Who defines what sound is healing? Whose comfort is prioritized?
A neurodivergent child may find the same soundscape
Overwhelming, that suited a neurotypical adult. An elderly trauma survivor may need absolute control, while a younger resident seeks communal resonance. Sonic healing architecture does not claim universality. It claims responsibility and responsible to design multiple sonic environments and the agency to navigate between them. The risk is not in failing to heal everyone, but in designing as if everyone hears the same. There are also practical limits. Not every project has access leads to extensive acoustic testing. Not every client understands why sound matters. Not every budget allows for adjustable systems. The framework must remain adaptable to constrained conditions while maintaining its core ethics. Time and performance. Buildings age, interiors weather, acoustic shift, timber absorbs more as it dries, stone smooth with footsteps reflecting more, vegetation grows, scattering sound differently. Architects must anticipate this planning regeneration, not just construction. Buildings don't end at construction. They begin performance unfolding over time, modulated by users and environments. Sound reveals scale, texture, social rhythm. Temporal orchestration ensures auditory experiences shift across daily, seasonal, programmatic cycles. By embodying cultural knowledge, perceptual research, ethical considerations, architecture engages memory, emotion, interaction, transforming spaces into living compositions. When I played in Canterbury Cathedral, I learned space is never silent, always resonating. The question is not whether architecture makes sound, but what will it sound like and who decides. In Paju, residents decide. They sing their grandparents' song. They sit in silence without fear. Their children play and hear joy instead of dread. Open-ended future. This is one project, one site, one method, but sonic healing architecture is not finished. It is a beginning. This proposal represents one direction, no definitive solution. Sonic healing architecture remains underexplored, offering vast potential for research, experimentation, societal benefit. Buildings sing, resonate, respond. By embracing sound as core design material, architects cultivate space that support well-being, foster engagement, mediate experience, remain adaptable to future cultural and technological shifts. This project contributes to a broader movement, inviting the discipline to move beyond the eye and fully engage the ear. Evolutionary and cognitive psychology suggest certain sounds carry shared social and affective meanings, influencing how environments are sensed, interpreted, remembered. Designing with awareness of sonic logics fundamentally alters architectural intention and outcome. It shifts sound from residual byproduct to deliberate material, ethically curated and temporally orchestrated. Through this approach, architecture becomes evolving composition supporting perceptual balance, social cohesion, emotional regulation. This framework remains flexible and open-ended, inviting continued development as culture, technology, human experience evolves. Listen, architecture has always been about seeing. Perhaps it's time we learned to listen.